Across the Fence from Vermont with Love. We're highlighting unique and beautiful quilts made by Vermonters who are inviting you to their 34th quilt show. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. There are 17 quilt guilds in Vermont. Although they range in size, the guilds are each committed to promoting the art of quilting. Today, we're featuring members of the Champlain Valley Quilt Guild. Joining me via Zoom are Joanne Freimeyer of Williston and Ann Standish of Cambridge. Good afternoon to both of you, and thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So we have a number of beautiful quilts we're going to show today, but we're also going to learn about the Champlain Valley Guild and its upcoming show, which starts this Friday. So Joanne, give us an overview of the show.
The show opens this Friday. It's open Friday and Saturday from 9 to 5 and on Sunday from 12 to 4. It's at Holy Family Parish Hall, which is in 30 Lincoln Street in Essex Junction. We will have vendors. We're taking over the whole parish hall, so it will be completely full of beautiful quilts, vendors, raffle baskets, and a craft table.
Okay, and detailed information about the show is also online. The address is cvqgvt.org, just like we have there on your screen, and we'll highlight that address again at the end of the program. So Ann, let's take a look at some of the quilts made by members of your guild, and we can learn a bit about each one.
Sure. The first 5 quilts that I'm going to show you are actually going to be in the show, and I really like the selection because it shows the variety and the depth and the talent of our guild members. This one is by Carla White, who won Best of Show back in our last show in 2018. It's an art quilt. It is a theme quilt. The theme this year is Wings of Joy, and this particular bumblebee is really enjoying this cornflower.
Beautiful.
And this next one is by Hope Johnson. She has a very wry sense of humor, and she took this image. It is her own design based upon a romance novel cover from the 1980s. And you can see that she is looking up at her intended there, but saying, you know, I'm busy in my studio at midnight and during the day. But, you know, maybe romance can fit in there somewhere, but not right now.
Great.
The next quilt was made by Joanne Latrell, and this is not her design, but she made this quilt for her son, who is a guitar player. It's one of the most exquisite uses of color and design that I've seen. Mm-hmm. The next quilt is another theme quilt made by Mary Neighbors, and this is based upon her idea of swirling parakeets in Australia. And she took this design of flying geese and made it into a fairly modern looking quilt.
Beautiful.
And then the last one that you will actually see in the show is a feathered star, very traditional, very beautiful, uses up a lot of different scraps. This one was made by Wendy Thompson. I think it will be an exquisite addition to the show.
Stunning and so imaginative. And the next 2 quilts we're going to highlight are the ribbon winners from 2018's show. What can you tell us about these quilts, Ann?
Well, those quilts, there are many ribbons that are provided during the quilt show. This one was one of the themes from 2017 because we only had a show every other year. We used 2 different themes, and this was from darkness into light. And it really does show that theme very, very well, looking out from a hollowed tree into a beautiful spring vista.
Gorgeous.
And the next one,
yes, this is great,
is by Ann Harmon, and it's not her design, but it is a rooster, a fairly festive guy, who got lots of attention at the show.
She's beautiful. And so, Joanne, how are the ribbon winners determined and given out?
We have 2 judges that we hire, and they are accredited, and they come and they look at all the quilts that are being judged. Each quilt is judged on its own merit. There's no comparison to each other. The quilts are awarded then, There's red, blue, and yellow. And then there's a best of show. There is each vendor gets to award their favorite, and the viewers actually get to pick, and we tally that at the end, and we award a viewer's choice award at the end.
Great. And it's not surprising that member-made quilts have a Vermont theme to some of them. Certainly not all, but some do. So let's take a look at those.
Okay, the first one is a group quilt made by the group members as a thank you to me for being the guild president for 2 years. Each guild member was asked to make a bright green leaf of any type on a dark background. And our current president, Claire Graham Smith, actually assembled this for me. And, you know, as a quilter, to receive a quilt as a gift was a real honor. I really enjoyed that one.
Stunning.
The next one is a design of Karen Abrahamovich's own that she has developed a pattern for. This is the state of Vermont, and it's a love letter to the state of Vermont. Mm-hmm. And the next one is an actual photograph printed onto fabric and then stitched to create depth of color and texture within the quilt itself.
Oh, great. So interesting. So much work goes into quilting. And what does it mean to be part of a guild, and in this case, the Champlain Valley Quilt Guild?
Well, to be a member, you're joining 100 of us, quilters who really share our passion, that we are here to learn, to teach, to share, and to promote. We do all of those things on a monthly basis. We really enjoy what we do, and we have made many friends through this guild. It is our 43rd year as a guild, and we continue to carry on.
Awesome. And Joanne, the guild is also involved in its community and giving back in that way. Tell us about that.
That's a very important part of our guild, is our community service. We give quilts to Habitat for Humanity in the area. If a family moves into a Habitat house, each member gets a quilt. We give quilts to UWM Pediatrics, along with pillowcases. We give pillowcases twice a year, and they absolutely love them. We have a whole group of members that are involved in Quilts of Valor that give quilts to veterans. We make placemats for Meals on Wheels, and during the pandemic, we made thousands of masks for people.
It's fabulous that you did that great work and such beautiful quilts. So let's take a look at a few more, Anne.
Okay. So the first one, during the pandemic, us quilters were able to bring things from the bottom of the closet back up to the top of the pile. And this one was actually made by Marty Del Nivo, and she used this very traditional pattern to create something that, was lingering in the closet for a long time. The next quilt is a pineapple. Traditional design, worked in many different fabrics with a great highlight background of white. I think it is very striking.
I think we're going to have to move through these a little bit more quickly to get to the end.
Okay, red and white quilt, very traditionally done. This may be in the show. This is showing some very subtle changes in color of a star. This is this is darkness into light.
Yeah, right.
Showing the covered bridge into the Vermont scene.
So,
Rhapsody in Blue.
These are so beautiful, and we want to make sure we highlight a very special artist, a featured artist. Joanne, tell us about this artist and her work.
This is Catherine Simchit. She's been quilting since 1993. Mm-hmm. This is a Dear Jane quilt. It is in the Bennington Museum.
Wow.
That's where it's housed. And her next quilt is from the book The Hungry Caterpillar, and she designed it, and it's now in an education place for children to work on the book and work with the quilt. And this is called It Takes Two. Every block is different. It's a sampler quilt that she did. And she also does miniature buildings. This is not looking at a bookstore. This is a 1/12 scale of a bookstore that she does everything and makes every piece of it.
Amazing. So these are 3-dimensional, and here is another one of those with
and that's
quilts
a
in
Christmas one. And the last one is a barn, and it's closed. It is actually 1/12 again, and this will be at the show, and it will be open, and you will be able to see inside.
Terrific.
This is our raffle quilt. Oh, that was our raffle quilt.
So let's go back to that for a second. A quick one. That's important.
Yes, the raffle quilt will be raffled off on Sunday, along with that's the big quilt. We also have a lap quilt and a bed runner. So it's exciting. We do that all together. It's designed by a couple of people, and the group puts it together. And that's our big fundraiser every year.
Sure. So, and you might win that quilt. So many beautiful quilts, so much to look forward to. It's all part of the 34th Quilt Show by the Champlain Valley Quilt Guild of Vermont, which starts Friday and goes through Sunday at the Holy Family Parish Hall at 30 Lincoln Street in Essex Junction. For more details, go to the Guild's website at cvqgvt.org. cvqgvt.org. Anne and Joanne, thank you so much. There's such beautiful quilts, worth going, and thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.